Good morning.
My
Another week,
goodness.
another week at the Nut Hut.
Right away with the good morning. I didn't forget about that. I was looking forward to it. It's good to be back, Jen. It is Curt and Jen in the morning. This is our podcast. And thanks for holding down the fort for the last week. Pat did a great job, I understand.
He did a great job. Yes. And I have a
Mhm.
funny story right out of the gate for you.
Okay.
Curt and I are remote again for a reason, and we will explain that in a second. But part of us being remote is I have a lot to juggle on my end because Curt has like his own separate room and I'm in my kitchen. Um,
I didn't
Pat
know that.
Pat is over because he goes to work this morning, and Jackie, my roommate, is really great. It works out every freaking morning. And she's like, I don't want to disrupt your podcast, so I've got to, try to manage her schedule. And everyone wants to make coffee, and my coffee maker's loud. So I went up to say goodbye to Pat, right? He's in the
Mhm.
shower and he's washing his hair, so his eyes are closed. So I just stand right at the glass. I pulled a Curt here. I stood right at the
Uh-oh.
glass. And it took him a while to open his eyes. And he opened his eyes, and I scared the bejesus out of him. He's like, listen, if you keep doing that, I'm not going to be around much longer.
And how satisfying was that?
I mean, I was laughing really hard.
For people who don't know, I used to hide. We had life-size cutouts right at the radio station. Who was it? Oh, it was Mr. Spock from the newer Star Trek, not the original Leonard Nimoy. And I would just place this life-size cutout around the studio and the station, and of course, people would come around the corner and get startled. And unfortunately for Jen, she was the recipient of a number of those.
Many, many,
Yeah,
many,
but it
many.
woke you up.
What?
It woke you up.
Yeah, but I feel bad. I kind of feel bad, but at the same time, it was a good one. I got him good.
I'm happy to hear that, and you're
Okay.
pleased with yourself. I love that.
So we are remote because I texted Curt last night. I'm like, Curt, I totally forgot you're at the Foo Fighters concert tonight. Do you
Yes,
want
I
to record
was.
a little bit later than normal? And do you want to just do it remote? And he's like, yes, please, and thank
Yeah.
you.
Well, I'm such a jet setter. I was in Florida all last week, and the flight left the airport at well, I think it was 9. Yeah, 9 o'clock local time.
PM?
Anyway, huh?
PM?
No, in the morning.
Okay.
But with the time difference and stuff, I got back here around 1, and then it was zip home and do a few things. And the Foo Fighters concert started really early for a show. It started at 5:30 because they had two opening acts. I think Alex G was the first opening act. I wasn't there for that. Then the Pretenders, which is awesome in and of itself.
You were there for
And
that
then
one?
yeah, and the Foos
Okay.
went on around 8 and played a good solid 3 hour show. It's always great. This is my fifth Foo Fighters show, and Dana, my wife, it's her third.
Oh
They're
my God.
good. They're real good. They're
I
real
have
good.
never been to a concert, the same artist, that many times.
Ever?
I've seen Taylor's probably the one that I've seen the most, and I've only seen her, I think it's twice. I think I've seen her twice. Yeah.
Oh gosh, I was such a music nut in college, and after, I mean, I've seen REM what 6 times, and there are people, there are people that their favorite artists. They're like, oh yeah, this is my 15th Dave Matthews show or whatever. There's one that you've seen that I haven't. I've never seen Dave Matthews.
I haven't seen Dave Matthews
Oh, I
either.
thought you would have gone to the Gorge.
No.
Oh, and here's the confession again that I've never ever seen a show at the Gorge, and you're gonna make that face. How is that possible? Well,
Okay, so I kind of get it because I've never seen a show ever at the White River Amphitheater, and it's because of the traffic. I will
well,
not.
that's what I've heard about the Gorge too. It's like the traffic is so challenging, not just
Yeah.
getting there, but getting out, I think is the bigger deal. So anyway, happy to be back. We had a great time in Florida. I was visiting my dad who has an awesome apartment, but he doesn't like to leave it at all. So it was a lot of um, sitting around, catching up on things, watching old movies. It was great. It really just, hanging out with the parents, hanging out with the family type of vacation. But the fun thing is my dad inherited a long time ago, or maybe we bought him one, Nintendo Wii game.
Yeah.
So we still have the old Wii game, which of course the graphics are horrible and the games are very simple, but we just have such a great time. Oh, we're going to do Wii bowling. I was like, all right, here we go. And it gets very competitive, of course, because it's a
Oh,
family.
yeah. Who
But there's a
won?
lot of Wii bowling and Wii archery and something where you ride jet skis. I don't know, but it was an absolute blast. And I wanted to say one of the things that we did, that's another thing. I've been there so often, there's not any new things to do, right? Even though
Right.
there's no new sites to see or anything, but they did start. We went at one point and we played miniature golf. Tiger Woods made a miniature golf course there in I guess it's Naples or Bonita Springs, must be Naples, Florida. And it was fun, but he named it, he's I don't know if you know this about the Tiger, but he and his dad are like super tight. I mean, he's one of these people that,
Yeah, I
and I
know.
love this. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, he named the miniature golf course after his dad. So, um, and he wanted to have it be like a golf name too. So the name of the miniature golf place is called Pop for his dad, and the second word is stroke, like a golf stroke. But to me, when I saw Pop Stroke, I'm like, your dad had a stroke?
That you know what's so funny, Kurt? When I was reading the notes of what you wanted to talk about in the podcast, I saw, "Oh my god, did his dad have a stroke?"
I
I'm
know. I
like
actually did that on
waiting for you
purpose.
to
I'm
talk
sorry.
about that. I'm like, "Oh my gosh."
I wrote in there Pop Stroke, and I was like, couldn't it have been, Pop Putt or Pop Golf? I don't know. But anyway, so we went to Pop Stroke, and it was awesome. But it was also 94 degrees. I'd say unbearably hot there. Of course, everybody lives there. Oh, you get used to it. It's like, I don't know if I would get used to this one. So trying to think if there's anything else that we did down there. Oh, my sister was watching Game of Thrones. I've never seen Game of Thrones. That is a violent show. I knew it was a violent show,
I heard it was
but
violent and kind of sexy too.
well, there is that accent. It seems like all that they had time to do back then was fight wars and have sex. That was basically your two options. Yeah, it was good. Unfortunately, the first episode that I saw was the one called Red Wedding. I don't know if you remember this or not, but that was a huge, we talked about it on the air, and this is years ago. But that was a huge one of those surprise, oh my God, they killed everybody type of shows. And people were stunned, and I think they were mad because they got rid of some major characters. So I'm watching this thing, and all of a sudden the knives are out and the throats are slit, and like, geez, this
Oh
is
my
really violent.
god.
Yeah.
Okay, so now you're gonna go back and watch the whole thing?
You know what? I kind of want to, just
Oh,
because I saw
okay.
3 episodes or so, not
Okay.
because it's sexy. It is very good, well done. It was very well done. And finally, the last thing I wanted to say, this was after the Foo Fighters concert last night. We decided to we parked by Smith Tower because we went to Sean O'Donnell's at Smith Tower before the
Yeah.
show. And so it's a little bit of a walk. It's not, you'd say, oh, that's nothing, but it's several blocks. And we were on our feet for a lot of the show. So we're like, you know what? We're going to get a Lime bike or a Lime scooter, right?
Ooh,
Um,
fun.
have you ever done that?
I've gotten one Lime scooter once. Yes, and it
Oh,
was
this is
super
my first,
fun.
and I know for people that live in the city, like, well, I take them all the time, but they're the little, scooters that you hop on, or the bikes you hop on, and give your credit card information, whatever, and away you go. All the Lime bikes were gone, so there's another company called Bird,
Mhm. Yep.
BIRD, and
Mhm.
so somehow to me it seemed like, well, this is the second-rate Lime scooter. Like, okay, if you can't get a Lime scooter, you got to take the Bird. But we got it to, we were the idiots that couldn't figure out how to get it to work, because the one thing we didn't know is you kind of got to start, you got to push, 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 and like, manually get it rolling, and then it'll
Yeah.
kick in. So I'm standing there on this thing, like, yeah, mine's broken, just trying to get it to go, bouncing up and down, like that's going to make it go faster or anything. We finally figured it out. And so my first, Lime Bird experience ended with nobody falling off of the scooter. That's what I was concerned about. So we
Okay.
did good. And
What
that's
you
all
did
that I have. That's pretty much the last week right there.
Nice. What you
And
did
last night.
miss is the big Saturday night storm that we had here in the Pacific Northwest. I think it was most of the Pacific Northwest. I mean,
Really?
the sky, okay, first of all, torrential downpour, at least in Cedro Woolley. That's where I
Hmm.
was when this was happening. And the sky was lighting up. I mean, we opened all of the shades up in Pat's motorhome so that we could I mean, it was crazy. The biggest light storm that I have ever seen in a very, very, very long time. I think Macy, my youngest, was reading something about one of the headlines. It's like this kind of storm hasn't happened in Seattle in 5 years.
Wow.
It was
That's
cool. It was cool. There's
so
some cool photos of the city with the lightning strikes that she was showing me. So that's pretty awesome.
so the light show was cool. Did it offset the scariness of the storm? That's the important thing. Was the
Uh,
storm scary?
no, it wasn't too scary. You just, like in the motorhome, you really hear it. And, if you have a
Sure.
metal roof, you really hear it. So, but it was still, it was a, yeah.
I
We
was
were
happy to
cozy
miss that.
inside watching our movie.
Nice.
Yeah.
Um, well, I guess we'll get started here. Unfortunately, we have some bad news to pass along. which is that yesterday Phil Donahue died, and a lot of people may not remember how popular and how big of a deal Phil Donahue was. I was very young too. I mean, that was when I was like, "This is boring. I don't want to watch a talk show."
Yeah, do you feel
Um,
like he was like one of the biggest, like first biggest talk show hosts?
was daytime, and yeah, his show was on for 29 seasons, so that in and
Oh,
of itself,
yeah.
says a lot. And so, you know what? I never watched it. Oprah came along and she had her daytime show, and I think that's when people of I don't want to say my generation, but yeah, Phil Donahue was like that was like, oh, that's for my parents, But then now we got a lot more daytime shows, and since then, but yeah, it was a huge deal. So he passed away yesterday at 88 after a long illness, and his wife is Marlo Thomas. You know Marlo Thomas,
Yeah, I
that
do.
girl. So
Yeah,
then they were married for 44 years, and that's what always blows my mind. That's so cool that
I
they had
love
such a nice
that.
long marriage.
Well, and
Is
Matthew
it?
Perry, we're going to talk about birthdays real quick. Matthew Perry would have been 55 today. Of
Mhm.
course, Chandler on Friends. He died last year in October. Ugh.
Yeah, yeah. And unfortunately, he's still in the news because they just arrested, what, six people in connection with his death? It was at least
I
four.
thought it was five. I thought there was
Yeah,
five connected, but maybe I haven't read any more about it. We talked about it on Friday because
yeah.
I couldn't even believe the story. I'm like, I cannot believe these people and
His
what they
assistant and
did to
a
contribute.
couple of doctors. And I think I saw something saying just recently that, oh, of course, there's going to be a quote. And let me see if I can find that quote. It was like he said, well, here's the headline. It says Matthew Perry asked his assistant to shoot him up with a quote big one before
Oh,
he died. So I've not read anything more into that story. Maybe it's nothing. But
God,
yeah,
bless
they're
America.
back in the news for
Man.
not the
John
greatest reason.
Stamos is 61, Uncle Jesse on Full and Fuller House, and Christine.
I wanted that to be in there just because I wanted to know, because I've never seen Full House or Fuller House, and so John Stamos was always this guy that all the people, oh, he's so sexy and blah blah blah.
Yeah.
Are you a fan?
Yeah, you know who else is a big John Stamos fan? Our friend Lisa at Disney that works at Disney loves John Stamos.
I bet
Okay,
she's had the chance to meet him because he probably went to Disney one time and
he
she was
did.
working.
He went to we were at Disney when he was there, and Lisa was so excited about it. It was hilarious because
But John Stamos is
her mom can vote.
61.
Yes.
61.
Yeah.
And this last one I wanted to put in here. Here's a birthday. Christina Perry, known for the song like a thousand years and Jar of Hearts. She is 38. And I bring this up because, and this is the video part. So if you're listening, you got to watch. I have a Christina Perry gold record. Can you see that?
Yeah, so a Christina Perry gold record that's autographed for what song?
Yeah.
Jar of Hearts?
Yeah, and for the album.
Nice.
But sometimes when you're in radio, and I was a music director at a lot of the stations, they will give you those little things when a particular artist that you played or you put on the air did very well. And here's a thank you. Here's a so I have quite a few of those, but that was one of the cool ones. I'm going to show you one of the less cool ones. You're going to laugh at this. This was another. This one goes back to like 1991, and it's so old that instead of having a gold record or CD, it has a cassette tape. Let me
Mhm.
move the mic out of the way. You are going to laugh so much at this.
Color Me Bad. Nice.
Yep.
Actually, I like it. I love that it's recent. I love that.
What does it say?
Not a
Color Me
bad
Bad.
one.
Presented to Curt
Awesome.
Cruz to commemorate the sale of more than 3 million copies of the CD and cassette CMB.
Color Me Bad. That's awesome.
I'm
All
going to find
right,
out somebody that this
here
is
we
worth a
go.
bunch of money.
We're launching into some of this other good stuff.
Okay.
There's a challenge on social media that is I just sometimes I can't believe some things that I read. Start a fight in 5 words or less. That's the challenge on social media.
Right. They don't want you to actually start a fight, but these are well, maybe they do. These are lines or things you could say or ways that you could start a fight
That
in
will
five
spark
words or less.
debate. It will really spark debate is
Right.
more
Oh, and
the
this,
thing.
but the caveat is no politics, because that's people that have politics. Like, well, okay, so politics is out. You can't mention politics, but the challenge was start a fight in 5 words or less. Some of the best responses so far, Jen.
Well, you're the number one. I'm just going to start with the first one out of the gate. You're acting like your mom. Are you kidding? Don't ever say that
You know
to
what? That seems like that's not just anybody. That's a specific fight between a couple, because I've made that mistake. And I've even beforehand said, you're not going to like this, but here's the thing. It's like, if you say Jen, you complain about something that your mom does, right? There's something she does that's annoying or whatever the case may be. And then
You do
maybe
it.
sometime later, you do that. So is it wrong for me to say, when you complain about your mom doing it, you're doing it right now? That's no good, right?
I mean, I would want to know about it only because it just bring it up gently, but you don't need to say you're acting like your mom.
I don't think there's a way to bring it up gently. I'm under the impression that no matter what you do, that's going to be trouble.
Okay, well, what are some of the other things like hot
Hot
dogs or
dogs are
tacos?
tacos, not or. Hot dogs are tacos. No, but that's not even a fight because that's just a mistake. Hot dogs are not tacos.
I mean, the concept seems pretty similar. I never
All
really
right.
thought about it. Wine is better with ice. I mean, if you're white wine, if you're in a pinch and you want white wine and you haven't chilled it, putting ice in it is the way to chill it because it's better than having it warm.
Yeah, yeah. Well, but they say that red wine's supposed to be like at room temperature or whatever, but
Yeah.
what's a couple ice cubes going to hurt? Now, as we continue with ways to start a fight in 5 words or less, dogs are better than cats,
Oh.
or cats are better than dogs. Now, the first one there is a fact. Dogs are better than cats. So, but I know I'm being bad. You're just smiling through this like,
We're not supposed to. We're just supposed I did it too. We're supposed to just say these are some examples of 5 words of less how you can start a fight.
yeah, but this is our podcast. We can do what we want. So yeah, so that's a good way to start a fight. How about anything about popular movies or shows? Like Star Wars is boring, Game of Thrones is stupid. Oh, here's a lie. Shawshank Redemption is overrated.
Oh.
One of my all-time favorites. Things like this will start a fight, perhaps. Brad Pitt was never hot. That is an attractive human being right there. I'm sorry.
He's nice looking, but I mean,
Come
it's
on.
not hot. Here's the best 2-word answer. Calm down. 2 words to start a fight. Calm.
Yes, you could even do a one-word answer would be relax. And a lot of these seems like they're seem like they would be between, yeah, two people in a relationship because, I can say calm down to a buddy. But if I say it to Dana, no,
No,
no
you
bueno on
cannot
that
do that.
one.
Yeah.
How about these people
Okay.
that said, oh, of course you can bring sports into it. So that's people are so passionate about sports, like the Yankees suck or the Cowboys suck, but the quote they had here is nobody cares about hockey. Well, I am nobody because I care about hockey.
I
I'll
know
take
you
that.
do.
I'll take that one.
The
So
best
if you
you said the best 1-word answer was relax, and on our little in the article that we're reading, it's the best 1-word answer is moist.
I said I thought a good one word answer would be relax, and I disagree with this for some reason, and you've
Why?
probably heard
I
this.
don't get this.
You know what the whole thing is with moist or not? The word moist?
People don't like it, right?
People don't like the word.
I
And
don't I don't understand it.
I don't know where that even came from. That moist was just a like feel like, ugh, I don't want to hear that, but I don't get it.
Well,
So
if people
I
don't
disagree
like
with
the
that
word
answer.
and they're listening, they're probably shutting off our podcast right now. We're
Oh,
done
yeah,
saying
that's right.
moist, although I don't really understand the word moist and what the big deal is.
Yeah, what are you gonna do? Walk up to
Moist,
somebody
moist.
to make them mad, just go, hey,
How
moist.
how do you describe cake? Like if you I want my cake to be moist, period.
Mm-hmm. Yep. I don't know. I never agreed with that one. Moist
Okay.
is a word you don't like, but
Uh,
I'm trying to think if I have any words that nah. So if you want to join in the conversation on that, you feel free to comment here or anywhere you are listening to or watching on the ways to start a fight in 5 words or less.
All right. Spanx, which is huge for women, and I think they
Hmm.
actually have some for men too.
Do you need to explain
Down
what Spanx are? Do people not know what Spanx are?
I think so. The stuff like the body shaping stuff, the stuff that like sucks everything in so you look better in your dress or your pants.
Right.
They have
And
clothes too now, by the way. They have a bunch of clothes. But now the founder of Spanx, Sarah Blakely, who is mega rich, is now
sure.
doing sneaks. Sneex, sneaks, which
This
are
is called
high-heeled
sneaks.
sneakers.
Hmm.
They don't launch until tomorrow. They'll launch tomorrow. I actually went on her website to see a picture of them.
And
I cannot. I cannot.
so they're just basically sneakers, and then do they have like a like more rubber as the high heel, or is it a like a
Yes. No,
okay.
there's actually a high heel made of rubber. Um, her whole thing is like, why are you doing this? And she's been working on it for 9 years.
Oh, while you're doing this, you're talking about women wearing high heels and
Yeah,
just
and she's
killing
like,
themselves.
have you ever worn high? That's what her response was. Have you ever worn high heels? Because they're not comfortable. I mean, sometimes you can get lucky and find a comfortable pair of high heels, but
Mm.
I know I struggle with them. But that's the big trend now with young people. They're not wearing high heels, even to the club. Like they're wearing their sneakers to the club. And Kurt, you and I were club people when we were younger.
It's
Like
true.
women didn't wear sneakers to the club. Guys shouldn't really either.
They guys should kind of level up. I've been noticing lately. It was funny at the Foo Fighters concert last night. And this is a concert, pretty casual, but you still could
Yeah.
see that a lot of when it came down to like the couples, the guys wearing a backwards hat and a concert T-shirt and ripped shorts or whatever, and she's just dressed to the nines. I mean, not like a cocktail dress or anything like that. But you guys, it seems to me that the women put a whole lot more effort into looking nice, and guys are like, well, look at me right now. I'm wearing a.
But that's
I'm
the
just
thing,
wearing
Kurt. Right now, the current generation is not. They're not wearing high heels. They'd rather be comfortable, which is kind of smart. But all you're seeing, like Macy and Riley, they never wore heels with their dresses in school. Like
Mhm.
when they were going to fancy dances, they wore sneakers.
Yep. And I'll tell you what, speaking of Riley, she likes she's a big fan of the Chuck Taylor Converses, right? She's got several pairs of those.
Well, she's more of a fan of Vans, but yes, I
Oh,
was gonna
Vans,
say
okay. Well, there was a lot of,
Chucks and Vans are the two big, you know.
I saw at the show last night somebody was wearing bye.
He's not
Whoever's
leaving
leaving, I'm
yet.
waiting to. At the show last night, somebody was wearing the best way I can describe it would be like Chuck Taylor Converse knee-high boots.
Oh yeah, my
I've
friend.
never seen that before.
There's a gal I went to high school with that I'm friends on Facebook, and she got a pair of those that are like they lace all the way up.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
that seemed, I was like, what a lot of work that is, but it turns out there's a zipper in the back. So
Yes.
you just slide in and zip up. But that was a new one. I will not be wearing those.
So here's the thing. You might be saying, you know what? I want to give these a try. I think that I would like to try these little,
The
these
sneaks,
high-heeled sneakers. And
right?
I say, great. I hope money
Until
grows on trees or you have a real good job because the retail price ranges from $395 to $595 a pair.
and
What?
people will pay that. That's the thing. People will pay that.
They're made of leather, mesh, and suede. That's what they're made of. So that's why. That's why they're
Why?
expensive. Anyway,
Well,
it's worth checking out if you want to see a sample of it. Just Google Sneaks,
I will get
SNX.
EEX, sorry, SNEEX.com. But I'll get together with several of us, Pat and myself, your boyfriend and me, and all your friends will get together and we will buy you a pair of the
I don't
$395
want to.
set.
I don't think
Yeah.
I'd rather have something else.
I don't know. You're protesting a lot. I think you kind of secretly want them. Do you need to go say goodbye to somebody?
Pat's getting ready to leave. Are you going to hang out for a little bit or are you leaving?
I don't know.
You're leaving.
Hey, buddy.
Hey there.
This is not for the people listening, for the people that, oh, you don't want to see this anyway. I'm going to block the camera somehow. Gross. They're all mushy.
She just about scared me half to
I
death.
heard about that. I got to admit, buddy, I'm a little proud that she startled you.
Yeah, my heart's still catching up, but
Have a good
Have
day.
a great day, pal.
Be safe. Love
see
you.
ya.
Yeah.
Okay.
He's going off to save lives and be an awesome firefighter.
Bye. Be a hero.
Next topic that you wanted to do, Jen.
Do you really need to separate your laundry? So there's a generation gap in this. I wasn't going to bring this up. I actually read about this last week and I'm like, ah. And I'm like, you know what? We should talk about this because everybody has to do laundry.
Right. And
there's
hasn't it
things-
always been that you do a load of darks and you do a load of light or white clothes, and they were
Yeah.
never the two shall meet.
Yeah, I mean, I know that's how my mom always did it. It was very strict, right?
Mhm.
But there's this generation gap where the generation nowadays doesn't do that because according to this life hacker, I mean, and it's more than just life hacker. Like it's pretty well known that ultimately you don't need to separate your laundry anymore due to there's a couple things. First of all, fast fashion. And I was reading this, I'm like, fast fashion, what does that even mean? Well, fast
Right.
fashion is it's the rise of like synthetic fabrics being used for clothing. So, and that they're generally less prone to bleeding out any kind of dye and color, because that's one of the reasons why you separated whites from darks, right? Because
Well, I
especially
thought it was
red,
particularly from reds.
red,
Yeah.
yes.
And and I always thought first, absolutely, when they're new from the store, you didn't wash reds with your whites because they would bleed. And you did it with some red clothes and some pink clothes, and that was it.
And that still might be the case. I think that you need to be careful about that. And I was always told if you're going to wash your red, make sure you soak it in vinegar to hold the color. I mean, there's all these little hacks, but now it's like you just wash them all together. The other thing with fast fashion is exactly the title of it. It's fast fashion. Like it's made not as quality as non-fast fashion, I guess. But the
Okay.
bottom line is it's going to fall apart a little quicker, so people don't care as much about throwing it in the laundry with a bunch of other things.
Yeah.
Uh,
You know what? I've been doing laundry since when I went to college. So what, 18? And I have twice ended up with pink clothes, pink whites rather, but it was accidental. It was like, oh, a
yeah,
red thing actually dropped in there accidentally. But
yeah.
so,
The,
and
the other thing they're saying here is that detergents have also upgraded their formulas. So it's giving way to much better color protection without assistance on your part as far as separating the clothing. But there's still need to separate your clothing. And here's when you need to separate it. Like towels and sheets should be done in a different load. Do you separate your towels?
we do towels separately. Yes.
Yeah. Because it should be on a hotter temperature.
Mhm.
It's it's
More heavy duty.
yeah, yeah. And then if you have, and I do this, so I separate, I'll tell you what I do. I do exactly what's in here now. I separate, if I have something that's delicate, like, I don't know, and I don't like going to the dry cleaner. I can't tell you the last time I've been to the dry cleaner. I'll just
Okay.
wash it on delicate or the hand wash setting and then I hang dry many of my things. So
I guess
towels, sheets, and then delicate things are all separate.
I guess my question to this would be, what is the benefit of not separating your laundry? Is it just a time saver?
Yeah.
Well, it saves like 40 seconds, if that. It's like you're just going through your laundry. Okay. I don't know. I don't see it as that big of a deal to have to separate the ones out. I thought maybe there was a way of saving water or something. I don't know, but
Well, and occasionally I'll do an all whites load if there's some really white stuff that I want to keep white. But here's the thing about that. Then, I mean, I guess you could set a smaller load setting on your washer because you're not, I'm like, I usually am like, okay, I have two white things I need to wash. And now I'm not going to wash them until I get more white things.
right. I don't.
I don't know.
We spent a
Yeah.
lot of time on this, and I hopefully somebody benefited from it. I'm sticking with my old way.
You're going to keep separating your laundry. I'm going to continue to mix them.
Right.
Okay,
And if my
fine.
wife was here, she's like, "You never do the laundry anyway, dude," which is not entirely true. I'm a house husband now, temporarily at least. So that doesn't mean we're getting divorced, by the way. People are like, "Oh, you're getting no." I'm a house husband while Jen and I are between our next gig. So I have to do the laundry. I'm doing laundry more often, so I do appreciate this little side that we did here for the
All right.
laundry.
Tell us what we should do is because I don't have a side hustle. You have a side hustle. I guess it's not even a side hustle anymore. It's your real deal.
Yeah, the business, yeah, we do AV services and lighting for nonprofit fundraisers with my little side business, which is called Sound and Sight. However, this side hustle they're talking
I don't
about,
have a side hustle, and I might like this one. Tell me more.
well, I'm wondering how much money you can make at this, but and this is creeping in on what kids used to do as a way to make a buck, the lemonade stand. Hey, here's lemonade, 30 cents or whatever. Well, now adults apparently are running lemonade stands as side hustles.
Okay.
It's funny to imagine, but say 20 to 30-year-olds, even more than that, they're taking a break from gig work and hawking lemonade to compete with the 8-year-olds down the streets. That's what you would think is going on. Apparently, that's not what's happening. These lemonade stands that the adults are running are almost like food trucks where the business owners are investing in equipment and the menus have multiple different flavors, syrups, and styles of lemonade. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
But
What kind of equipment do you need to have a lemonade stand? I mean, I guess if it's fresh squeezed lemonade, you need one of those industrial lemon juice or citrusy thingies.
they have don't they have lemonade kind of stores, sort of like I know that they used to have them in mall food courts. They would have and they'd have more than just lemonade, but that was their big deal. So
Yeah. Okay.
uh anyway, but the thing with this stuff is, at first I thought they were going to say that they were, spiked lemonades, little boozy lemonades, and that's
That's
not
what
the
I
case.
was thinking. Yeah.
But apparently the lemonades stands that these people are running are charging about $6 a drink. No, $8 a drink. Not going to do it.
Yeah, I'm not gonna do it either. I'm not
I mean,
doing it.
you'll pay that, at Crowbar. It's like, all right, this is a good drink. It's got a little, you know, but you got to wonder also how much mixed drinks cost at bars and how much they charge for them, because
Oh, I mean,
that,
they're making a lot of money. We already know that because you
I mean,
can
I
go
understand a markup, but if you, let's just, I'd like to know what the actual cost is of, what was that shot that you liked so much, or, a lemon drop shot. Okay. Like an actual shot of lemon drop that you spend how much on?
I
Six
don't know.
bucks?
It's got to be like $6 at least. It
Yeah,
depends
and
on where
I
you're
wonder if
at.
it costs. I wonder if I know you have to consider also, there's a server that brings it to you and stuff like that. I understand that, but I think how can it cost more than 5 cents?
Well, I think it cost. Okay, I think it costs
All right,
more.
I'll give you 50 cents.
Whatever.
50 cents is as high as I'm going.
Okay.
All right.
Kurt, I want to kind of pivot for our what we want to know about for tomorrow because it's something you brought up at the beginning of this podcast. I want to know how many times people have been to the same concert, like what the concert is,
Mm-hmm.
or like who
And
it
how
is
many
and
times
how
they've
many
been?
times they've been.
Well, a lot of them for us, maybe not you, but for me, particularly when I was in Detroit, working at an alternative station in Detroit, there was a lot of up and coming bands that would do, so I cannot tell you, by the way, how many next big thing bands I saw that only had one single. Remember, How Bizarre,
Yeah.
bands like that, yeah, that are on their way up, and then there's no second single or anything like that. But so I have seen a lot of shows, some that I didn't particularly want to see. But like if you have a favorite, a favorite artist or whatever, why
Yeah.
not see him? I think so. I think for me, the big one was REM about 6 times. But you also hear about people that follow bands around and see them, and particularly like the Grateful Dead, and I think Dave Matthews Band has those kind of fans too.
Yeah. We know like Leonard from the Kent and Allen show
Hmm.
and your show and Kurt and Corinne and Leonard show.
Right.
Leonard and his wife, especially his wife, have gone to Dave. They go to Dave Matthews every year. That it's just
Yes.
like this annual religious thing that they do.
And I don't know how big of a Dave Matthews fan Leonard is, but she is.
He is a big one, Margie.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Yeah.
Kurt, so let's ask that. Like, tell us the artist or group name and how many times you've been. Like the one concert you've been to the most times. So is yours Foo Fighters or is it REM?
It might be Foo Fighters at this point. I have to go back and check on my concert. Well, you don't even get concert,
I know,
tickets.
I
And
missed
I
that.
loved having those ticket stubs, but
Even my
I'll have to give
girls
that some
missed
thought.
that. My Macy and Riley, because I always took them to concerts whenever I could. I'm a huge believer in live performance. I think that it's very powerful for the soul and the spirit. And so
Hmm. Well, I
even
have a
when I
funny
didn't have
one.
a lot of money, I
There's a
would.
there's a
Yeah.
technicality here because we were presenting the show. It's a big deal when you're in radio at a radio station. If you get what they call the presents
Yeah.
on a
Yeah. I
show, that
know.
means that they'll say, "Hey, so and so is coming to town, presented by Star 101.5 or whatever."
Yeah.
In Detroit, on two different tours, I welcomed onto the stage. I introduced the band, and I think so. I think technically I saw them 5 times, and that was, wait for it, Bare Naked Ladies.
Really. Okay.
Yep.
So that's what we want to know. Go to, if you could please like us and follow us on Facebook, Kurt and Jen in the
Yep.
morning. That's super helpful because if you ever need a quick link, you can go to our page. We always post the link to our podcast. And I'm
Hmm.
starting to post not only YouTube, but also Spotify and Apple. I usually post those two.
Right.
Um, so that's an easy way to access our podcast. Another easy way is if you like us on the platform that you're watching us now, if you like us, subscribe, follow, super helpful. We would love that you do that. And then, of course, spread the word.
And we'll follow you back. There's the deal, right? Follow us,
Follow
we'll follow
us,
you
we'll
back.
follow back.
All right. And I want to circle back just for one more thing. We're going to wrap things up here. My dad did not have a stroke.
Okay, yes. Thank you
Just
for
because the
clearing
name
that
of the
up.
miniature golf is Pop Stroke, and all I wrote on our little notes here is I underlined it, Pop Stroke. I don't blame
Oh,
you for being concerned. That did not happen. It's the name
I-
of the miniature golf course that Tiger Woods opened.
I'm glad that Dad and your whole family is all good and you got to visit with them. It's good to
Yes.
have you back, Kurt.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for listening. Have an awesome, awesome day. We will see you
Yes.
tomorrow on the podcast. We do it every weekday. In the meantime, make good choices, find joy, and spread kindness.